What's going on, YouTube? This is your boy King Gabe coming at you.
And this is Queen Tina.
And we got another Royal, and we are back with Royal Talks. We haven't been there in a while, but let's say, if you hadn't seen it already, this is why we ain't been at Royal Talks in a while.
Because we're busy with most of our comics so far. So far I've done 5 issues of Bubbleina. This is the first issue. It's about a girl named Melissa who's from Pasadena, California, and she discovers herself that she's a mermaid as well as a superhero. And Bubbleina issue 2 is about Melissa's first fight as Bubbleina. Issue number 3 is issue number 3 is titled Treacherous Alliance. Issues 1 and 2 are titled A Bubbleina Beginning Parts 1 and 2. Bubbleina issue 3 is about Melissa was hanging out with some friends, but they are sharks in disguise, and she is fighting with these sharks. That's Serena Sin. This is Bubbleina issue number 4, titled A Disastrous Field Trip. And Bubbleina is facing a half woman, half octopus named Octera. And this is the current issue, Bubbleina issue 5, and we introduce a new mermaid named Odetta, aka Vanessa Summerfield. Vanessa Summerfield is her civilian form, but when she's transformed, she's Mermaid Odetta with ice powers. And all my comics are $7 an issue.
Yep. So yeah, definitely what. And like I said again, if you hadn't seen her, because there's a video up that was up previously of her discussing issue 5 once it was done and everything. So definitely I have a link to this in the description box of that, as well as also a link to sort of a collaboration of little videos that were made both of her and also stuff pertaining to Bubbleina up to issue 4. Yep. So yeah, definitely check those out there. All the Bubbleina related links. And one reason for mentioning all that, because as you saw in the thumbnail, this is we're talking about mermaids in this Royal Talk as well. The ones that came before the Little Mermaid from Disney.
Well, the 1989 Disney version of Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is going a little bit further back in the 80s now.
Yeah. There might be some adaptations before the 80s of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There is. Oh, there is.
Yes.
There's even I think even an anime adaptation of it.
I know it's not Disney. They're going by the original story.
Yeah, of Christian Hans, of course.
Hans Christian Andersen.
Hans Christian Andersen. Yeah, wasn't doing so well with Love Life, and kind of reflected that into his Little Mermaid story with the whole her turning into sea foam thing. Whereas Disney took that and, well, gave before giving it a happy ending, did have the whole thing where it was more so of Ursula wanting to, rule the sea and pretty much using Ariel to get to it there. But yeah, sort of the fact that he reflected his bad love life into the original Little Mermaid story, sort of like the some of y'all probably might know this, the writer of Pinocchio, years before Disney, who wrote the story of Pinocchio. People asked him to write a children's story. This guy did not like children. He didn't, and he wrote it with with great hate. That's why in his original story it's really dark and just had Pinocchio not exactly as friendly as he was in, like, I got no strings to hold me down.
The Disney version is sort of semi-dark.
Yeah, it is.
Tone it down a bit.
Right, mostly by the character Pinocchio, but the stuff that happened to him was still pretty dark. But they just made the character sweeter. But yeah, originally Pinocchio wasn't that sweet from the start, and only reason he did get somewhat of a happy ending in the original story, but that's because people begged him to give it to him, because originally this guy just hung Pinocchio and left it, and Pinocchio dies. The end. Almost like Patrick. Wolfgang was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Yeah. No, we can't have that. You gotta change that.
I bet the fans demanded Disney to have a happy version of, to have a happy ending of The Little Mermaid. I bet fans demanded that.
Either that or Disney probably just did that on their own, because that's kind of the thing with a lot of, that's not just Little Mermaid, but a lot of the story when they started making all them fairy tale movies there. That's just kind of, because remember they gotta market to the kids and stuff, so
it's all about the children.
Right. So yeah, I think that was just something they sort of decided to do from the beginning.
I think Hans Christian Andersen not only doesn't have a wife or a girlfriend, he didn't have any kids, so he just died alone. He lived alone, he died alone.
Sort of like George Jefferson and Gary Coleman.
And maybe other celebrities who lived and died alone.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty sad with the origins of Little Mermaid, non-Disney, and several other fairy tales. However, though, what our talk today reveals one of the adaptations similar to the little, somewhat like the Little Mermaid, that, like Disney, also has a bit of a happy ending as well. So, yeah, and it's actually, I would even dare say a little bit more simplistic compared to Disney's Little Mermaid, but in a good way. Yeah, so let's splash in. Splash into what this is all about here.
That's the title of the movie. It's just Splash. That's it.
You want us, as Captain Hook said, you want a splash, Mr. Starkey? I'll give you a splash. Yep. So, of course, and I even as a special note to myself right at the beginning, Walter Kornbluth is the scientist. He's a character that comes. We will tell you when we get to him in there, but that's just kind of a reminder to myself, because I went like over halfway watching this movie until I heard the name at the very end, like, oh, that's his name. Because I kept putting in the notes, the scientist.
If you want his name easier to remember, just look at a cob of corn blue. Just look at a cob of corn.
Which rhymes with Don Bluth. Corn Blue, Don Bluth, the guy the critic always talks about in video game lore.
Yes.
Dragon's Lair.
Oh.
God, you got Don Bluth film.
Yeah.
So of course this movie is written by Ron Howard, which a lot of you probably recognize from being involved with movies like The Grinch, Jim Carrey. The Grinch.
He also did some acting back in the day. He was the little boy from the Andy Griffith Show, and I think he was on Happy Days.
Oh, really? What you say?
Ron Howard, yeah.
You say he was a little boy?
Yeah. In the Andy Griffith show, I
So-
think his name was O.P.
So he in the same show to do the.
Yes. He was the kid.
Wow, it's a small world there.
Yes.
Oh well, I know. Definitely, when I hear that whistle, I know Andy Griffin. I hear that whistle.
I'm just gonna go by assumption that he might be the only cast member who lives, the only surviving cast member, while the rest didn't die. Talk about Andy Griffin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a classic. If you even if you didn't see the show, at some point in your life you would hear that whistling theme there. There's nobody could go. Everybody going to hear that theme at some point in their life. So of course with that, the movie starts off with the song "Woolly Bully." Kind of like this song, "Woolly Bully, Woolly Bully."
I bet it took place in the 60s.
I think let's see if the movies was in
84.
Okay, yeah, it did.
60s.
It did. Yeah, because the thing says 20 years ago, and going by the age of our main characters, yeah, it would definitely match.
Yeah.
So, speaking of our main characters, Tom Hanks stars in as one of them. This was before he became Woody. There's a snake in my boot. Before there was a snake in his boot, he had a mermaid in his house. Yeah.
What's next? You gotta say, there's a mermaid in my house.
And I'm not complaining there.
Or he will say, there's a mermaid in my bathtub. Or there's a mermaid in my tub.
Just the fact that there's a mermaid in general, I prefer that than the snake. At least, because that snake might bite me. But at least the mermaid, you know, I can, hey.
As long as it's not a scary mermaid.
Oh, you
That look creepy.
Oh, you talking about that National Geographic stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me started if somebody come up with mermaid vampires.
We best. They already have. They had. I wouldn't. I'm not going to be responsible for giving them any ideas for that. As Pontius Pilate, my hands are clean of that blood. I will. I'm clean.
We already have evil sirens.
Yeah, that I can understand now. Siren, yeah, you know, Odyssey and stuff like that. And even the sirens did not look monstrous. It was just the fact when they started singing, the sailors were drawn to them. And then also, another reason, yeah, they were beautiful because that was what drew the sailors to them.
Their beauty.
Mm-hmm. That and their singing, yeah. So, of course, they weren't gonna look monstrous because if they looked monstrous, you wouldn't want to go near them. All of a sudden, you hear this singing, say, "Come to me, come to me," and all of a sudden,
Depending on what I come up with, there might be sirens in my Bubbleina series.
But well, they are like you just say, they all kind of like the evil mermaid.
Yeah.
Yep. So first off, our main character, Alan, who the adult version is played by Tom Hanks. First, we get a look at him as a kid. Not sure about the kid actors though. Probably have to look it up then later. But we get Alan. Ooh, excuse me. Who said he was like? I think he said he was 8 years old.
8 years old at the time, and I think his brother Freddie might be around 10 or 12.
10, I think. Yeah, because he mentioned about that was cute when we were 10.
Yo.
So 8 and 10, yeah. So we get Alan, 8 years old, Freddie, 10 years old, and even as kids, Freddie seems like a grown little man. Especially when In the very opening scene that he first shows up, he drops money on purpose so he can, little coins, so he can look up the ladies' skirts.
I think nowadays you don't see that. You don't see this anymore nowadays.
Not that I would condone anybody to see that.
Because us women have common sense now. We starting to catch on to things now.
Yeah, that's just and then years later you had the boys try to look up women's skirt on white chicks, except they weren't throwing coins down. They got down where they could see them going up the steps. Yeah. This is in the beginning of the movie, but also, yeah. So yeah, pretty much. And of course, his parents see him. Say, talk to your. The mother looks at dad. Talk to your son. Listen to your father.
Even though the father didn't say much, I know if it was your kid, you would say something to him.
Yeah, at least that. Even with the pop, even when I got popped for doing something as a kid, my folks still had some dialogue. As Steve always say, oh, you're gonna hear some conversation.
Maybe it was you would just pop him in the behind.
True. Yeah. Oh boy, like Medea say that. They pop on your behind. Eventually, though, Alan, as they go to Cape Cod, Alan jumps off the boat because he sees the mermaid, who is a little girl at this point. But she flees when Dad shows up to get him out of there, and is pretty sad about it there.
I think mermaids only flee when they see other humans. They only look at one particular human because they might think it might be their first love, their possible first love.
Something like that could, maybe that, some kind of sense in there. And then plus, he was, like I say, he was a kid like her, so, yeah. Yeah, but then all of a sudden, uh-oh, daddy coming. Yeah, so, but then 20 years later, Alan grows up, and both him and his brother, even though his brother was already kind of grown up somewhat, immature grown up, and they're over their parents' produce company.
They call it Bauer Produce.
Call it what?
Bauer Produce, since the last name is Bauer.
Oh, okay. Bauer Pro, okay. So apparently this was the warehouse where Kroger got their stuff back in the day.
As well as other grocery chains.
Yeah. I think it might be possible. I'm trying to make the connection in canon.
That's in New York City. We're in Louisiana.
Well, maybe the Kroger's over in New York.
I highly doubt it. They might be called something else.
Well, you got Ralph.
Yeah, in California.
Ralph,
I've
yeah.
heard of them.
So maybe there was a Ralph over there. You never know.
Or any other name.
Kroger, Ralph, maybe somewhere, maybe Tim, maybe Bob, Jill, Jack. There's a Dylan, Cole, Ashley, Brenda. That was a little joke from Zach and Cody. Who told Dylan, who told Cole, who told Brenda, who told Ashley. Yeah. So apparently we opened up that scene with an angry customer with some cherries, and these cherries aren't looking so good. They've come in with some slime, and yeah, working in produce myself, we've had that happen before. It came from the warehouse pretty bad with not with just anything. I'm not saying this happens all the time, and I'm not saying everything, but there have been no blue moon cases where that's happened.
There are times I see the strawberries don't even look too good. Same goes with the grapes and the other berries. They have to pick which is the most decent one for the customers.
Yeah, being clickless, because they have clickless really got them.
Yeah, and some of the strawberries even have some fuzzy white stuff.
Yeah, you don't want those.
So I just pick which ones are the decent ones. That sort of goes to the ones in the ad.
I ain't gonna say his name, but it's almost like one one Night Stalker got me kind of annoyed me really bad. I'm like, why are you throwing those tomatoes away? I was like, cause they're moldy. They look good. So that mean they're not good? Yes. What? Gee, I don't know. Gee, it possibly couldn't have nothing to do with the fact that they look like Santa Claus. Because of yeah.
Somebody might say, if it's expired, it's retired.
Oh yeah, I've heard that expression.
Yeah, if it's expired, it's retired.
Oh boy. Well, this customer is probably even more so agitated than I was with the tomatoes. Where are my cherries? Your cherry, you're not gonna. How would you like some bananas at same cost? Deal.
At least he's happy.
Yeah, that was that.
Bananas at cost.
Well, I tell you what, that was probably a miracle there. That guy was fired up until he said those bananas.
Okay, the story was me complaining like, where are my strawberries? And they would ask me, how about grapes at cost? And I would say, deal, I like grapes.
And why did these cherries get so bad? Wasn't just because of something in the delivery. Apparently, Freddie was supposed to be in charge of making sure they got good cherries delivered, and he splurged the money that they were using for some cherries that actually were good in a poker match. Lost the poker match, and the person he lost to decided to cut him a break with bad cherries.
So he lost the poker game and he ended up with bad cherries. If he did win the poker game, he would get good cherries.
In other words, he just bet the livelihood of the business on a poker match.
That's a bad business move.
No, Kroger would not have accepted that one now.
It will cost them their job.
Yeah, almost like a Wayans Brothers episode with TC winning the newsstand from Sean to a poker match. As Pop say, I give you a chance to make something of your life, and you blow it on a darn card game. Don't even talk to me right now. I can't stand to look at you.
It'll be worse if you bet on your entire house, your car, or even your own family in a poker match and you lost that.
Or bet your best friend could like Mr. Krabs. Yeah.
Well, if you lost your family in a poker match, your husband or even your wife would just leave you, and they would take the kids with them.
Well, pretty much.
Yeah.
That would be somewhat of a result.
As well as they might take the house too and the car.
That'd be like
everything.
That sound more like being repossessed.
Yeah. Daddy, there's some burglars in the house.
Oh no, honey, those are just friendly repo men.
I don't know any repo men who are friendly.
Well, hey, I mean they could be, but what they're doing. But the fact that you're getting your stuff repo, yeah, that ain't so friendly though.
Their main focus is their main focus is their job and getting their stuff. That's it, and then get an easy pay.
Oh yeah.
While making other people's miserable.
Pretty much, depending on who working it. Well, ooh, sorry about that. So apparently, Big Brother Freddie just grew up to be a chubby version of Tony Stark. Well, I guess like me, but is that yes, like me, except in his case, he has Tony Stark's finance. Somewhat.
Oh. And I know Tony Stark is richer than Freddie.
Yeah, because he also has all that high-tech stuff that he works on all the time, and I'm Iron Man.
He's a playboy.
Yeah, that's Freddie. Technically, I didn't think of it then, but technically Freddie, I think, would be probably a better comparison to him, especially body size-wise, would be Curly.
Oh,
from the
Girl
Three
from the Three
Stooges.
Stooges.
Right, the actor who played him, he was a party all the time guy.
Yes.
So him pretty much like Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
I think all that partying led him to his demise.
Yeah, that was kind of sad, and kind of a similar to the character Eddie played in Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
Ouch.
He just wanted to be happy.
Yeah.
But people give him a hard time.
Yeah. Well, that may be why he was partying so hard, to try to get that off his, maybe get the stress off his mind.
Yes.
And so people do a lot of things to try to keep their happiness,
Keep their happiness, as well as get rid of all the negativity. And sometimes the negativity brings back bad memories in their minds. That's hard to get out.
Pretty much, yeah. Oh boy. So, speaking of that, looks like Alan ends up getting some negativity after when he gets a call from his girlfriend that apparently we don't see. He just has at the beginning of his, the opening of him as an adult, is saying that it's over. And it turns out he has the trouble saying that he loves, that he loves you too, which I think is one of the reasons why.
And that's before Sam Witwicky's character in Transformers had a hard time saying "I love you" to Michaela.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah. That's before that.
I think it's more surprising that she was still with him, even if he did say it. I adore you. That's not what I want.
Saying "I love you" is not hard.
Yeah. I love you, Christina.
I love you too, April. Yeah. See? But people think saying "I hate you" is easy.
I guess it's like that saying from Tyler Perry's play, I can do bad by myself. Yeah. Technically, yes, you can. And considering how this world is.
Yeah, like the hate is easy, but loving is hard. That takes work.
Well, I'm working on the loving. I'll work on that. I guess I have to work on that instead of the railroad.
Yeah.
So after this causes him to angrily attend a marriage for another couple there. He's like, "Hey, where's Lisa? She's not. She's sick. She got the flu. Hey, where's Lisa? She had the something."
I think the woman he mentioned was Victoria.
Oh, Victoria, sorry. He's like, "Hey, where's Victoria? She left me, okay? You want to do some like first two rows?"
He took his frustration out of everybody.
And I can kind of hear a little bit of Woody in him there
when he yelled.
Oh yeah, and then some of the other dialogue he delivered.
Yes.
Buzz!
I guess that's why they chose him.
Yeah, he went from being angry and that to you are a toy. Like that. So after that little episode there, and also Freddy's still trying to look up women's skirt even though he's a grown man. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, that's Freddy.
I find this embarrassing.
Yeah, but it is, but it's Freddy. So then of course, so after that, Alan tries to drink away his troubles. That doesn't work out so well because he almost gets into a fight with a guy for spilling his drink on the guy's girlfriend. Then he goes to Cape Cod in order to try to clear his head and everything, and gets a boat ride from Fat Jack. And that wasn't a joke I made up. That's actually what they call him. That's Fat Jack.
I bet the reason why he went to Cape Cod because I bet he wanted to kill himself. He might be she might think about just going on a deserted island to kill himself.
Well, I mean that could be, but I kind of highly doubt that. I think because one thing he mentioned, he said he just feels better when he goes up there.
Oh.
Sort of like when he was a little boy, he was just looking at the ocean there. So, yeah, I think it's just a matter, you know, he's depressed, so he's just going somewhere just to sort of, you know, it's sort of like a person with autism, you know, when they get overstimulated.
Yes.
And like all this stuff going on in their head, so they get somewhere.
To relieve.
Exactly, yeah. As Nicole explained on her channel there, or even Naomi in my book when she, you know, like, wait, this isn't my room. Where is my mom and dad? And just panicked there. And when she got to the forest, all calm. So apparently, while they're in the boat, Fat Jack kind of plays around a little bit, kind of trying to scare Alan. And like, oh, you can't swim? I guess you don't want me to do this. No, stop it! Stop! No, stop!
And he was terrified out of his mind.
About as terrified as Donkey when Shrek was playing with the bridge. At least in Donkey's case, Shrek got him across the bridge, though. In this case, Fat Jack got them stranded.
Out of the middle of nowhere.
So Fat Jack goes to try to swim to shore to get another boat. While he's gone, Alan gets impatient trying to fix the motor, which is probably a bad idea since he can't swim. Well, the good news is he fixes the motor, kind of. Bad news is he gets flung out the boat.
Ah! And the boat hit him.
Ouch.
The boat hit his head and he ended up drowning until somebody saved him.
Which was the mermaid. And it pretty much, and of course, even though this movie is rated PG, but you know, 80s was a little different from now.
And that's before PG-13 was invented.
Right. So, now if you look at this now, this movie's actually on Disney Plus. I just found this out yesterday, but I haven't looked at Disney Plus's version because it's a censored version. I might check it out one day just for the heck of it. But I did see some pictures of the censored version on Google Images. So when this mermaid first appears, she's kind of they sort of make her similar to the Christian Hahn Little Mermaid and a lot of the old paintings of mermaids you would see back years ago, where the mermaids were usually naked. And yeah, she's in her birthday suit. And in the movie, the original movie, the one that we got from the 80s, when she runs out toward Alan, yeah, you see her rear.
Yes.
So, but Disney Plus had from a Google image I saw censored that by CGI extending her hair,
making it really long.
Right. And in a still frame shot, I think you mentioned that it looked kind of obvious.
It does look obvious. It looked like it's a cut and paste effect.
Probably is, but I think probably, like I say, when I check it out a little bit later, probably might possibly look a little better in action. Moving and stuff. Where maybe it might make it less noticeable when it's in movement there. Yeah. So one thing you also notice in this movie, this mermaid that we find, she's the only mermaid that is in this whole movie, which would kind of make you wonder where any other merfolk are at, mermaids or mermen, any of her family or anything like that.
I never thought of that when I was a kid, when I had the VHS copy of this movie. All all they thought about is just the mermaid. That's it. Finding her one true love. I didn't think about the technical aspects of it.
Well, one theory I sort of concluded there, and probably would have been pretty dark if this was the case and this was added in the movie. Probably pretty dark. So yeah, I guess theory speculation is probably the best thing to go with on this movie. My theory, probably because let's see, Alan was 8 years old when he met this mermaid as a little girl, which you'll find out that it's the same one later. My guess is before her and Alan met as kids, maybe when she was real young, like 3. She probably, her family and a lot of other mermaids with them probably were all taken away, not by an evil sea witch, which is in a deleted scene, but I think since scientists are involved in this movie, maybe other scientists had taken these mermaids, and due to the experiments on them, and this one mermaid is the only one that's still there. These mermaids did not make it, and probably the research, because this has happened in movies where you hear about, oh, they researched on this, but why didn't nobody hear about this? Because the information got buried or something like that, swept under the rug, especially being the 80s. Or this could have even been, back further in the 80s. So, with no iPhones or nothing to keep record, sweet, nobody knows.
That mer people exist.
Right, only those sides, and they probably kept quiet from the public. Yeah, and to really confirm my theory, when we get a little bit late, there's a little bit further down this movie that might kind of confirm my theory there. So, and I kind of felt like they made sure to put it in the movie, but maybe it's best if they did it there, because I think you know how they say show don't tell. Maybe the whole thing with the scientists in this movie with just that one was supposed to be our hint to that.
I think the main focus of the movie is Alan finding a loved one. Alan and his loved life. That's their main focus.
That's probably why they just made it where you have to try to figure the other parts out. That's probably why.
It would be nice if they had a prequel of the mermaid. Of her backstory.
All depends on how they would write that there. It'd be a little too late now to write that.
I mean, if they did back then.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If they did think of it, they would have had to really think of something good there.
I think we'd only have it if they reboot the movie.
Think so?
Yeah. If they rebooted the movie.
A reboot movie probably would show a little bit of that there.
Yes.
And I kind of imagine. Now this is just me imagining. I'm not saying this as a confirmation. It's just my imagination here. I kind of imagine in a reboot of this movie, the original actress was
Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah.
Yes.
And of course Tom Hanks as the guy she fell in love with. In my imagination, for a reboot, I would imagine Nicole from TikTok as the mermaid because of her quirks, and having an autistic mermaid, and have Tom Holland play as Tom Hanks' character, being how he played the Spider-Man role as an autistic character. That kind of match. That would actually be pretty interesting to see there. So of course that turns out that after that little meetup, Alan accidentally left his wallet at the beach, so the mermaid decides to bring it back to him. Going up on the surface world, Rich resorts in her showing up at the Statue of Liberty in her birthday suit, much like at the beach. And you probably can guess what would happen amongst the crowd that's touring around there.
They want a photo of her and be near her, especially the guys.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty, the home of Mickey, women everywhere. Oh my gosh!
If it was in this day and age, I know people would have their iPhones out and put it on the internet.
That would be trending all over YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Probably, chances are that some of the videos would get taken down for nudity, but trust me, oh, they wouldn't quit. If some of them, they wouldn't be able to take all those videos down. Because somebody would have that video up.
And the cops have to ruin the party.
They're like, oh no, this ain't California. We don't do that here. Alan gets a call from the police station that picks her up because of his wallet. They see his ID in there and everything, so they call him, which allows him to find the mermaid, resulting in a whole lot of kissing for a while.
I know he enjoyed that.
Oh, we were enjoying that too. It's almost like when you go to those drive-in movies. Well, actually, almost like when you see a movie of a couple going to a drive-in.
Yes.
And the movie they watch is a romantic movie, and it shows the couple kissing on the screen, and the couple watching starts kissing. Oh.
If there is a drive-in movie theater somewhere in Shreveport, we might go there one day. If there is one.
I don't think that they have one at the moment, especially this day and time.
I think it's obsolete now.
Yeah, I would have spotted that at some point.
A drive-in movie theater. I know they have it back in our grandparents' days as well as our parents' days.
Somewhere over in Pasadena there.
Well, actually, back in the day in general.
Oh.
Just back in the day.
Yeah.
50s and 60s.
Yeah, I think that's been long. Matter of fact, another thing that's long gone is going to the movies and only having to pay under $10 for a ticket.
Yes.
Or even snacks.
Less than $10. I miss those days.
Yeah, matter of fact, we had that theater right down the street from my grandparents.
Yes.
My Grand and Big Papa them, right on Valley View.
I remember there was a movie theater back in California that was underground. That you take the escalator down there.
Oh, underneath the mall.
Well, actually, it's in the building. It's not in the mall. It's in some type of building involving restaurants and shops.
Oh.
You have to take the escalator to get to the theater. And it was cool.
Like a secret entrance.
Yes. It was AMC.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they closed it down back in the like in the early 2000s. They closed it down.
Yeah. Underground theater there.
Yeah.
So after all as that chief in SpongeBob in one SpongeBob episode goes.
He went wild.
Oh, that cracked me up with the
He went wild and
make out reef. Make out reef. Good times. Good times. Good times. Great minute.
I guess in his case, great good times, great night, or great day.
That would be what I go when I go with great night. I want a longer greatness. Yeah. So Alan comes back to work singing. I would sing the song on there, but some of y'all might not like it due to its controversy on Disney. probably can take the hint there. Yeah, but so while he's at work, the mermaid decides to go to Bloomingdale after seeing a TV ad for Bloomingdale. And she's there, and then when Alan gets back home and finds out, he goes to get her, and after he gets her, she starts to talk to him for the first time while observing the sights.
Well, she started to learn English by watching TV, and her first word was Bloomingdale's when she got to the surface world.
Bloomingdale?
Let's be honest, mermaids don't have the same mindset or even intelligence as human beings.
Well, in this universe, because like I said, she had never been to the surface. And like she mentioned, her name was hard to pronounce, and because
Dolphin chirps.
Yeah. I think not being that this wasn't the universe of Ariel, yeah, it was a little different. And of course, so because her name is in Dolphin Chirps, she decides to name herself Madison.
Well, actually, he just pick up and he just say names at random, and she chose Madison.
When she looked at the sign.
Yeah.
Madison. Which, and I gotta be honest, she's definitely making me think of Starfire. Just imagine if this was her and Robin walking around town.
She also reminded me of a kid looking at things differently, saying, "What's that?
Oh yeah.
What's that?"
And that's another reason. This is another reason why I also pictured in my imagination of a reboot, this being Tom Holland and Nicole from TikTok.
Yes.
Because of how because I think she would really pull off Madison's fish out of water innocence. Because yeah, the way she acts on TikTok would be perfect for the role. And she does packages. Yeah. So later that night, Madison decides to take herself a saltwater bath, and I gotta comment on this, when she dips her legs into the water and they become a mermaid tail, going by H2O logic, you know, the Nickelodeon series just add water. How when they get wet, a tail appears. But being that this is the 80s, the effects of her legs, like when they show it close up and change.
Yes, they look real.
And this is the 80s.
And like they're infused in them.
Sort of like how I did with Bubblina. They're merging the scales with her. In a way, it's pretty much part of the scales are part of her.
Maybe one day there might be a moment of Melissa taking a bath, and she might pop her tail at will, just to relax.
Oh yeah, so like they did in H2O on purpose sometime.
Until it will be interrupted by her parents that she have to change back to her legs quickly.
Pretty much like what she has to do when Alan shows up wanting to join her in the dub. Can I come in?
No!
And okay, Madison, this is getting kind of scary. Come on, open the door. And yeah, and they change back before he gets in there, and she says she's shy and walks out the room. But if this was us in this position and Christina was in there as the mermaid, and I'm trying to get in there, like okay, what's going on? I don't think that tail will still be out, but when I come, I would have got through before that tail changed back. And my reaction, you're a mermaid? Cool!
Unless I have magical powers, I just snap it back to legs, quickly in a snap.
Well, yeah, in Bubblina logic, we're talking about the Splash H2O logic. we're going by those universal logics, though. Yeah.
If it was me, I would just change to my legs quickly before he come in.
Nah, I would have got there first. And then,
Once again, you gotta call for dibs.
oh yeah, and then and seeing that, be like, oh yeah, so you mind if I come in the tub with you?
You're not scared or freaked out about this?
I watched The Little Mermaid. Why would I be freaked out by that there? Oh wait, Little Mermaid hadn't come out yet. I read about mermaids in the books. Have you seen how pretty those mermaids are?
Don't get me started with artwork.
Yeah, I check chances are I'd be a mermaid fanboy, which technically I am because look who I'm married to.
Yeah.
I'm married to a mermaid right here. So now of course, had this movie just been about Tom Hanks and Madison, you know, romance and antics and a whole lot of kissing.
I think Madison did mention that she has 6 days to live in the surface. Just 6 days. Well, it would have been nice if it was a whole week.
And also, yeah, and they don't really explain that, but that's another thing that sort of ties with my theory about that maybe she feels, maybe all her family and something got taken by these scientists. Maybe that was, I'm just saying maybe it was, it could be also a possibility that maybe some of her people went to the surface world just to explore like she did, and maybe after 6 days or a week, that's when they got discovered and taken. That's good.
After 6 days?
Right, they could have been in different parts of the world. When you think about it, 'cause I mean, you know, waters, there's no telling where they could have swam to.
Yeah.
So,
and they can't be magical.
Right, so maybe that could have, so maybe Madison was going by that. Maybe it wasn't some spell or something, because they don't explain it. But yeah, if you tie in with the theory of the scientists taking all the merfolk away and she's the only survivor, maybe it has to do with the tragic trauma that she experienced. And yeah, with her time with Alan, she's really trying to, you know, not, you know, trying to just be you know,
keep positive,
right, and
positive.
say, okay, let me have a good time, and then I'll go back so I won't die. Yeah. So had this been just with, you know, them and antics and kissing, I would be fine with that. Oh yeah, Tom Hanks, kiss mermaid. Hey, that's my movie. But of course, being that this is a movie and they have to have a certain length of runtime, especially for theatrical release, you gotta have a sprinkle of a plot. You know, it's a thing. You know,
with the scientists trying to find out that mermaids are real, so people won't think that he's crazy.
Which of course is Walter Kornbluf, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Which kind of reminds me of a human version of Plankton from SpongeBob, except he's not trying to take over the world. Like you just say, his only objective is pretty much just, you know, like you say, he don't want people to think he's crazy and just, hey, mermaids exist. I told you so. That's just about as far as his plan goes.
I think his original plan is, if he succeeded, he might take the mermaid to the museum and show it to them at a museum.
Possible, or at least possible. Or, well, I guess maybe at that moment. I guess at the moment he was thinking of all this, maybe that could have been his plan. I know, like I said, the most of it I know was just he just wanted to show, you know, he believed they exist, which apparently they do, and he just wanted to show it to the world because, like I say, he was laughed at a lot. So, but he didn't have and of course he didn't have intentions of world domination or nothing. But maybe he might have possibly had what you mentioned there, the putting a circus, but
A museum or a circus.
something
To get
like
money
that.
out of it.
Possible, maybe. But chances are, if he has succeeded with that, if he has succeeded and that was his plan, and he succeeded with that, well, it might result to, well, what we're about to see a little bit later, what he does, what ends up happening. So, unlike the, so apparently, a bit later, you know, Alan and Freddie, they're discussing, Freddie's asking Alan about his relation with Madison while playing tennis, and for some reason he's smoking a cigarette while playing tennis. Now, as a lot of us knows, it's bad enough just even smoking in general, you know. Cancer, as I call them, whenever you know, it's, you know, see, you know, them cancer sticks.
And exercise and smoking go mixed. You don't see no professional athletes doing it. Smoke while still playing sports.
Even if they,
That'll ruin their career.
exactly, yeah, I would imagine they probably wouldn't smoke just to keep their bodies, you know, where they can, you know, do what they have to do. But even if they do, I'm just like, even if they do, because I mean, you know, people are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
But at least if you're going to do that, do not exercise at the same time.
While smoking?
Yeah, or especially playing sports too.
You might accidentally choke on it.
Exactly, and then they're playing tennis. That ball could hit Freddie in the mouth. Oh, I'm choking on my cigarette. My cigarette. Yeah, and then he's got a cigarette in his throat.
Ouch.
And probably, so almost, it'll be worse than Mr. Krabs choking on an apple. So yeah, he got a lot of nerve doing that there.
Smoking while exercising.
However, while they're talking though, Alan can't figure out why Madison can only stay for 6 days, and also a lot of the other stuff that's happened before, like, you know, the Statue of Liberty incident, the fact that it took her a while to learn English, and her amazement with stuff.
He just felt puzzled and confused.
Exactly. So
That he just wanted to know more about her. Or why she's like this.
despite his confusion, though, he still treats Madison well, though.
Yeah.
Even upon giving her a gift, which is a snow globe, Madison decides to give him a gift, which is an entire fountain they found at the park with a mermaid on it, and which is a pretty big gift. And yeah, she's got to have some magic power to get that in there, because there is no way any moving truck is moving that thing in there. I'm just saying.
Mermaid magic.
Through the, yeah, it has to be, because that's too big to fit through the door. But why would she do that? Because I love you.
Aww.
As that clip from Media Hunters review. Oh. Meanwhile, Walter Kornbluth is apparently talking. Let's see, what was it? With another scientist trying to tell them that there's a mermaid in New York, but of course they don't believe him. Big shock. And of course, this resulted in him trying to prove that she is a mermaid by, of course, trying to get her wet so her legs will turn into a mermaid tail. And yeah, his first attempt is a failure, and he gets beat up by a Bill Murray look-alike. So, yeah, the guy. I swear the guy that punched him in the camera looked just like Bill Murray.
So, if you made him mad.
Oh boy.
I guess that's how you feel when the press are on his case.
First he's a Ghostbuster, then he goes to play shoot hoops with Michael Jordan. And oh wait, no, that was in the 90s with Space Jam.
Oh.
I know Ghostbusters was in the 80s.
Yes.
So I guess I guess he was trying to take a break from ghost busting, and then here this guy comes in his face. And then, of course, Alan takes Madison on a date where she eats a lobster. What the heck? Let me rephrase that. Let me repeat that. Madison, who is a mermaid, eats a lobster. Do any of the writers of this movie, how is it that nobody working on this movie found a problem with that with that logic? Even if Disney's Little Mermaid hadn't come out yet, that's, I mean, a mermaid. That's like having foghorn. That's like having foghorn leghorn eat a chicken leg.
Or looking at KFC or Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and having curious sins like what's in there.
And before some of y'all go in the comments section, because some of y'all are probably gonna go, but what about SpongeBob when Mr. Krabs say he eats? Hey, that's what I taste like. Yeah, SpongeBob runs on a much different logic than Splash's universe. or better, well, SpongeBob runs on a different logic in general. Yeah, so yeah, I kind of expect movies like Splash not to be in that same logic there. More, at least there was one thing that would have been nice if they did like this Chinese mermaid movie where she ate chicken instead.
Yes.
Yeah, that was at least a little better.
I know in my universe, the mer people would eat coral, seaweed, and other sea plants.
Oh.
They would just consider themselves as vegetarians until they get to the human world, where they discover different types of meats.
Mostly like the cows and chickens and stuff like that.
But they will stay away from seafood.
Yeah, as you mentioned about your about the mermaids, and all of a sudden they see something like sushi.
They would just vomit or just cry.
Yep. So of course after dinner they go ice skating and what? Excuse me. Alan tries to get Madison not to leave and stay with him as his wife, but pretty much like my first proposal to Christina, my first one, she declines. In Christina's case, she wasn't ready.
I just wasn't ready at that point. I still have a lot to do.
And in Madison's case, yeah, I guess you could say the same thing, especially with that whole 6-date thing and going by the theory I put out there about the scientists. Yeah, I guess, maybe she feels like her life would be in danger staying past 6 days there.
Yes.
But but she doesn't. But of course, she don't want to tell Alan. Yeah, I get, because if I'm gonna leave in 6 days, probably just keep that to myself. However, this gets Alan kind of upset, and they have a bit of an argument. Well, actually, he got frustrated and angry. And she ran off in tears there.
I could just see it in her eyes.
But of course, fortunate for Alan, she takes some time to think about what just happened, and early the next morning she comes back, much like my second proposal to Christina. The answer is yes. She decides, despite whatever risk there is in doing this, that Alan is worth it, and because of this, she also states that she has to tell him what she wasn't able to say before at a certain time, though. Yeah. So. Yeah. And of course, we do get another visit from Walter Kornbluth again.
Trying to go for his mermaid hunt.
And Bill Murray punches him again.
And I know the woman is mad too instead of crying.
Well, of course, I mean, it probably messed up her dress.
I know the first time she was in tears, but in the second time she's just angry.
That's actually a pretty logical change of emotion, because trust me,
yes.
when I was
happened before.
when I was a kid and I had nightmares of Mr. Peanut from Flanders. Yes, this is true. I probably mentioned it in another video. Yeah, it was this one night. It was this one nightmare where I came in the kitchen and one of the bands that I really liked back then, the California Raisins, were painted yellow for some reason and looking as if they were miserable. And I was wondering what was wrong with them. And when I sat down in the chair to think, I was 4 years old at the time, all of a sudden I felt the chair get picked up, and it was Mr. Peanut lifting me up in the chair, and I went to screaming, ah! And I hear him say, "What the matter?" Suddenly I was angry before I woke up.
Well, yellow raisins do exist. They call them golden raisins. They do sell them at Kroger.
Well, in my case, because I was, terrified of Mr. Peanut, it at that point was making me angry that because like it looked like the raisins were miserable and for some reason. And yeah, I was pretty mad at Mr. Peanut at that time. Yeah. Yep. So meanwhile, a little bit later, Madison and Alan go to a dinner with the President of the United States. Dun, 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 dun.
I noticed there were some protesters outside. I think these protesters are against the president. I guess.
Think so.
Yeah, they might. I think they don't like him, I don't think. I assume that the president might be a Republican.
Never know, but yeah. I ain't gonna get in the thing, though. Yeah, I ain't up for no, not on this video. Yeah, I ain't gonna be going into no party discussion on that. There, yeah. Yeah, we'll let that part speak for itself. Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, some of Walter shows up there and he tries to get to her while they're having dinner, and probably the dumbest thing you could ever do. And you don't even have to be a rocket scientist to know how dumb this move is. Okay, you're going into a fancy place with a water paddle humped over your back, and pull the hose out, which looks like you pulling out a gun. And in this special event with a lot of people and guards and stuff, you got the president amongst this. Don't you think that if not the regular security, that the people protecting the president are going to jump you, thinking that you're going to assassinate the president or something?
He also is wearing a cast.
Yeah.
And one of the employees say, "Do you work here? And why you have a cast?" "Because I'm a part of the union."
Yeah, but that trick didn't go over so well with the Secret Service. Because the minute they see this, he's reaching, get him. Yeah. Big no. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that you don't go into a special gathering involving the president like this. It's like going to the airport and you're expressing excitement by saying this is the bomb. Bomb!
I know if this happened this day and age, they wouldn't let it in. They wouldn't.
Probably in real life in general.
Yes.
Yeah, just the fact that he looking suspicious with that hump on his back, and also the whole thing of reaching for that little water hose, which they thought was a gun. So of course he's escorted out, and Madison would have been safe had she not asked to leave early. If they had stayed for the rest of the dinner, they would have possibly been safe. But she requests to leave early because she wants to tell Alan about her secret in private. And when they get outside, Alan spots Walter, and just as he spots him, Walter is able to pick up his hose and spray Madison with the water, succeeding. which kind of makes me wonder, okay, these guards were able to get him out of that building quick when they thought he was about, before he went, just as he was reaching in.
Yes.
So, why did it take them so long to get to him? And I see the shot is shot in slow motion, but still, they took longer to get to him here than they did inside the building.
They do, it's movie logic. It doesn't have to be explained.
You mean the same logic of why Edward and Bella can have a conversation in the crowd? You're like, I have an adrenaline rush. You can Google it. So, yeah. So apparently, yeah, Madison is exposed. Behold, the mermaid! And the people capture Madison and also take Alan away. Now,
Alan was in a state of shock at that moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Yeah, now, yeah, even in a state of shock, the fact that I would have been. I'm not completely sure how my success would be, depending on how the crowd goes.
Yeah.
But I probably would not have stood still the minute I see mermaids out. Yeah, you'd have to really go fast to stop me there.
I know you'll be in a state of shock for a while until you come to your senses.
But yeah, I would still get to you even then, because I'm seeing a mermaid tail, and like I say, I'm a big fanboy.
Yes.
So obviously, I'm gonna. It pretty much like the same way a person runs to a celebrity.
Yes, you would just saved him.
Mm-hmm. But of course, and maybe, like I say, depending on how the crowd flow, but yeah, they get a hold of both of them. They pick up Madison, and then they even escort Alan, leading him to a tank where now he's in his birthday suit.
That they think he's a fish.
Or a merman, technically. I'm not a fish! How many times did I tell you that? Let's try some interaction. So, they're still human. We can understand you.
What?
We're not like we're not savage or barbaric
Or animals.
Dude, hey, I am human. Do you understand?
I'm not stupid.
Yeah. And I'm about this close to smacking you in the face if you put your hands in my face one more time. So, yeah, and oh, and also about him screaming, "I'm not a fish." It might get made into a meme when I mention, when me mentioning this right now is probably going to get made into a meme. I am not a fish! Or, I was frozen today! I'm Suburban Commando. Okay, so of course, they do get to have a brief conversation in the lab when let's try some interaction by dumping her into the tank with Alan, where she's able to at least try to talk to him. But when she tries to come near him to, he flinches away, which, okay. I can understand the crowd scene. Okay, he was in a state, like I say, I said I would rush over, but I'm letting that slide. Okay, he state of shock. Okay, that's okay. I understand. I get that. But she is a mermaid, not the Loch Ness monster. Why are you?
Animal.
Yeah, it's not like she turned into the Werewolf of London,
or any type of beast.
Yeah, so why would you?
It's like, stay away from me.
Yeah, she flipped. Yeah, now that's what. Now, if both me and Christina were to take like the, yeah, I would have went on and embraced her.
Yeah.
Now, what happens after that, as far as with the because they throw him out of the building later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which in my case, they'd be fight. They'd have. I'd be putting up a fight. Them trying to kick me out the building. Go! I want that! Let me go! Let me go!
Oh
yeah.
And you have to face the press.
So there would have been some fighting in that.
If you're facing the press.
No, I'm talking about with the scientists trying to kick me out the building first.
Oh.
No, that would have been
embracing.
That would have been a fight. I'm just saying. In this, don't take this personally. But if you're grabbing all up on me like that, and I'm trying to get free, I might possibly bite you to get free if that's my only option for defense. So don't take it personally. Gabe used bite attack. It's super effective because it's the dark type attack now. Yeah. So after 12 hours of being there, he's released, and of course the press hounds him. Freddy is able to get him out of there and become a voice of reason. Yeah, it takes Freddy to the one that's always fooling around with women and brought a girlfriend to his own wedding. Suddenly he's the one that's speaking to him. What are you, crazy? You saw how love you were with him? Some people will never get that happy. I won't even be that happy.
I bet it's based on personal experiences with his love life. And
that actually was a good point. Yeah, maybe that also. You remember, like I mentioned about Eddie Murphy being miserable and he partied his character in Dreamgirls.
Yeah.
Until he died there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's Freddy's case. Maybe his love interest had. Maybe he's had. Yeah, like you just say, he might have had some really bad ones that he actually was committed to, and possibly. Remember, he said he brought a girlfriend to his own wedding. Maybe maybe there was something with that fiance that really. Maybe that girl he was about to marry really did something really bad to him that not even his brother knows, and possibly some other girls before her. So, I guess maybe that could be his reason of becoming a playboy, because trying not to commit himself because he feel like if he does he'll get hurt again. But he feels like Alan has a better chance than he does. Yeah, so this adds really a lot more depth to the characters than you think when you think about it. With these theories.
And he thought and some people think he's just a one-sided character by partying all the time. But there are some layers to them.
That's one good thing about these early movies. Even as simple as this movie was, if you really look and think about it, you can find some layers under some of the characters. Yeah. So of course they go, because of Freddy, they all go back to get Madison. Of course, we get a moment with Walter Kornbluth, who feels pretty bad about what he's done, because like I say, he just wanted to show the world that there was a mermaid, but he sees that it looks like she's not doing so well in the tank because it's not salt water, and she's getting kind of sick in there. And on top of that, the scientists want to dissect her.
An internal examination by dissecting her to see what her reproductive organs are like.
Ouch.
I bet that's death to them.
And that probably explains what's happened to her family and friends.
They were dissected.
And upon hearing this, Walter is now pretty angry, because like, okay, I just wanted to show that she existed. I didn't want y'all to kill her. Yeah, this is sort of like Judas, except Walter doesn't kill himself. He gets to help Alan and Freddy out, get her out of the scientist lab. So at least he does get some redemption. And of course, let's see. So of course, Madison is really happy with the rescue and their reunion, making that heart thing go up. they managed to get her out, and moments later, I think you said it was the Army?
The Army as well as Coast Guards were chasing her.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking it was the SWAT team, but yeah, it was actually the Army.
The Army and the Coast Guard.
I was like, really? Is this really necessary? It's Tom Hanks with a mermaid. Do you really need do you really need an army just for this?
It's not like she's a criminal.
Yeah, what do you think this is? Nick Fury and Captain America the Winter Soldier? That's what that chase scene sort of reminds me of.
Oh yeah, Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Except we don't have the Winter Soldier show up and throw some device under the car.
Oh.
And of course, Walter tries to slow the army down in order for them to get away. Well, they do get further away from him, but yeah, trying to slow the army down doesn't work in his favor. But too bad that casted arm wasn't a metal arm.
Yeah.
That would have helped.
If it was metal.
Yeah, and you have that Winter Soldier get up. Just imagine Walter dressed up like that. So, and there's even a scene where a taxi cab driver's in the way, and they tell him to move, and when he tells them a smart answer, the army's like this, like, turn his cab over. Yeah, the army's not playing around here.
They're serious about their job as well as capturing the mermaid.
Maybe a little too serious. So they finally get to the ocean, and now it's revealed to Alan that Madison was the mermaid he saw as a little boy, and she says that he can be with her. Which, yeah, considering that they stay here, they're gonna be pursued by the army and studied in the lab.
Okay, but there is one problem. If Alan stays with her, he cannot return to the surface world ever again.
That is true, and that's as much of a disadvantage as that would be. Let's review the facts at the moment. Live with a mermaid for the rest of your life in the ocean and never come back, or stay on the surface where the army could end up taking me in and studying the mermaid, and I'm behind bars
for the rest of your life
for interfering with the experiment. Well, Christina, cannonball!
I guess you have to follow your heart.
Oh yeah.
Even you didn't get a chance to say goodbye to your family.
Yeah, that's true, but then again, like I say, the only other option I had would just result in the army coming at me. So, yeah.
It'd be on the news.
So yeah, as sort of like as they say in given the choice between the two of you, I pick. Oh, is this really even an option? Of course I'm gonna go with the mermaid.
Too bad he hasn't thought about just moving to another state and change his name, or move to another country and change his name.
That would probably be a little difficult in this situation with the army in pursuit of him. Yeah. So of course they escape, and we do get a pretty cool underwater fight scene of them, because some of the army and I guess Coast Guard come after them in the water. Yeah, which gives Madison a pretty big advantage since apparently they haven't trained very well fighting underwater. And they live happily, and Madison and Alan live happily ever after.
And I know in the end they discovered an underwater city.
So that's probably where they stay there.
In the underwater city.
And they until of course the sequel.
The sequel that hasn't been seen in ages.
Yeah, and it's really hard to find the sequel, but like I say, it's just a maybe. We're not sure yet. But if we find it and we feel like it, we might tell you guys about the sequel.
They do have the sequel on YouTube, but it's in another language that is hard to understand.
Do they have subtitles?
No.
Darn.
I wish they did, but no.
Yeah. I guess that'll be at the. I guess to find the sequel will be at the bottom of the sea.
It might be buried.
Well, even if the sequel was, even without the sequel, it's pretty obvious to know. Well, the sequel goes a different direction, but if you took away the sequel,
yes,
yeah, you could probably just say, yeah, they just live there and reproduce down there, repopulating the merfolk.
And as a kid, I thought it was a standalone film.
Would have been nice if it was.
Yeah, just keep it as a standalone.
Yep. Yep. Of course, they have. Which, I mean, there's no problem with making a sequel if you make it good.
Yes.
But yeah, it wasn't. The sequel's not horrible, but it's a big downgrade from the first movie, though.
Yeah, the clips we saw.
Yeah. Yeah, when you compare it to the first movie, it does not work.
Well, it was a made-for-TV sequel, that's why. It wasn't released in the theaters. If it was released in the theaters, it would bomb quickly.
I've seen made-for-TV movies better than that. The Lion King 1.5 was a better TV movie than that. Well, yeah, it came straight to DVD. But Lion King 1.5 should have been in theater because it was actually a pretty decent movie. Yeah, but oh well. That's the Splash movie there. Anything we got on that?
Well, Splash reminded me of what the Little Mermaid would be like in the modern era, slash real world. What it's like in the modern era and real world.
Oh.
And encounter real life situations as well as problems.
And ironic that they make it before The Little Mermaid comes out.
Yeah. And she started learning English by watching TV.
Yeah.
Which is sort of unusual. Even though in the original Little Mermaid, she just lost her voice from the sea witch, so she couldn't communicate in the surface world.
I guess you could. Well, remember you mentioned to me about the magic she used to get the fountain in the building.
Yes.
Well, maybe there was some magic to enhance her learning abilities as she watched the TV.
Oh yeah, it might be in her mind.
Yeah,
As she's still discovering herself.
A bit of a learning enhancement there.
Yes, through magic.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned before, mer people in general don't have the same mindset or intelligence as human beings.
Well, the ones that were raised in the ocean in the early days.
Yeah.
But see, nowadays you got mermaids like yours.
Yeah, at least with Melissa, she was raised by humans.
So
Most of her life.
So she already knew the way the surface worked.
Yes. From when she was a baby to 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she still has a lot to learn as years goes on.
As well as the other mermaids that will be showing up then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely a really good romance though.
Yes. And I think it's considered like an underrated film, but it's a good film.
Yeah, definitely check out Splash. Yeah.
Yes.
It is a must-have that is worth seeing. You definitely got to see this movie. I've seen people have even got clips of it on TikTok and talk really highly of this movie. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's when I was looking up the clips for that trailer I made for this World Talk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, but it is. I guess you could say kind of got a cult following there.
So, like most underrated films do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that'll be it. It is a great romantic film. It has more romance and more funny antics too.
Oh yeah. There's a lot. As that guy said in Fresh Prince, there's a whole lot of that.
I think it shows you an example of what mermaids are actually like in the human world.
Very affectionate.
Trying to discover certain things.
They're very affectionate, that's for sure.
Yeah. And try to know different things for the very first time.
Kind of like her.
Yeah. They definitely remind you of kids trying to explore the world when they first enter the surface world.
Yep.
But you cannot stay mad at them.
It's pretty much like me and you.
Yes. Even if you had a moment that you're frustrated with how they act and stuff.
Because of that innocence there.
Yes. But you cannot stay mad at them forever. At some point in time, you would have regrets of what have I done or said that you want to get back to them.
The fish out of water like Starfire. Man.
Yeah. Like you want to just make it up to them.
Yep. Like this point taken. Yeah, definitely go see that. And if you like what you heard and everything, definitely like, subscribe, share it with your friends. Definitely leave some comments there. Possibly a special thanks. And also, don't forget to check out our available comic books, as well as support us on Patreon, even if it's just $1 a month. So you can definitely contribute to what we do, and see a couple of the short films that are on, a couple of the videos that are on Patreon now that are Patreon only. So definitely do all that, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
And much like the movie.